What in the F is going on with Tesla stock today? If there was ever a day for Tesla to shine and to really do well, it was today. Jerome Powell yesterday just went full bull. What that means is basically the Fed doesn't even care about the recent inflation we've seen. They're going to be cutting rates regardless. Probably feeling a lot of political pressures because rates are so high, people cannot afford a home. If you're heading into an election and you can't even afford a home or to get a new auto loan, you're probably going to vote for a change in leadership. Topic for another video. But for many different reasons, the Fed is feeling a lot of political pressure to start cutting rates. And that showed yesterday. Powell is your friend. Powell is the market's friend. Powell went on to say that financial conditions are weighing on economic activity. When you look at any metric of evaluating financial conditions, they're at the loosest point they have been at in 10 years. I mean, yeah, the Fed has raised rates a lot. Sure, lending markets are constrained, but other than that, financial conditions are loose, baby. It's like free money everywhere, according to financial conditions. Now, you're not seeing a whole lot of money in free Tesla. Of course, the one day where Tesla should be outperforming, really having a good day, you got some quote-unquote bad news. I don't think it's bad news, but the markets are taking it as bad news. And let me just share that with you first things first. And we're going to go over everything else you need to know in regards to Tesla. But I mean, you almost have to laugh at the market's psychology here. So Tesla stock is down about 1.5% after Li Auto says they only expect to deliver 76 to 78,000 electric vehicles. That's 24% lower from their previous guidance of 100 to 103,000 deliveries. Li Auto already delivered 51,416 vehicles in January and in February. So the updated guidance projects 24,000 to 26,000 deliveries in March. That's roughly half of the previous 50,000 target. Now, that's not necessarily the bad news. This is kind of the bad news. It says on March 1st, Li Auto priced its 7-seat all-electric minivan at $77,764. That's nearly double the price of General Motors' gas-powered competitor, and that is even more than XPeng's X9 as well as BYD's Denza D9. So this is a very premium product. While the markets kind of look at Li Auto and Tesla as similar in regards to really the premium market in China. But Tesla's vehicles are not $77,000. Now, Li Auto reduced their guidance based on their first purely battery electric vehicle, the Mega. So this Mega is highly overpriced, and they had to reduce guidance because $77,000 in China, that's 500,000 RMBs. That's a lot of money, dude. Of course, you're not going to sell that many. Tesla's selling vehicles for half that price, and yet you group Li Auto's weakness as a Tesla weakness as well. You literally have to laugh at that, okay? This means nothing for Tesla, but Wall Street is making that comparison, and it's just not a good one. I mean, this is a real stretch to sit here and say Li Auto's overpriced vehicles not selling well, so that means Tesla's vehicles that are half of this price are also not selling well. You gotta be shitting me, man. You gotta give me a break on this one. I get it. A lot of the other news has been, not so great for Tesla as well, but I gotta buy the dip on this. Li Auto also said they were looking to cut the Mega EV prices to stimulate sales. Well, no crap, right? You definitely got to cut that price. They said, quote, "First, we want to acknowledge that the operating strategy of Lee Mega was mispaced. We planned operations of Lee Mega as if the model had already entered the 1 to 10 scaling phase, while in fact we were still in the nascent 0 to 1 business validation period." Further, he added that, quote, "Next, we will focus on our core user group and target cities with stronger purchasing power, recalibrating the Lee Mega strategy back to the 0 to 1 phase. After that, we will expand our reach to broader user bases and more cities. Second, we put excessive emphasis on sales volume and competition, distracting us from what we excel at, creating value for our users and driving operating efficiency. We will lower our delivery expectations and restore sustainable growth by refocusing on enhancing user value instead of competition, while maintaining operating efficiency." Blah, 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 blah. That's what that is. Means nothing for Tesla. But again, that just shows you how bad sentiment is right now for all EV makers. I mean, bad news for one, even though it has zero implications for the other, well, can have big negative impacts. Just imagine this. If Powell was not bullish yesterday, Tesla would be down like 5% today. Just because the markets are up, you know, what they are. The NASDAQ up almost 1%. Small cap stocks really the outperformer today, up about 1.2%, 1.35% as of right now. If that was not the case, Tesla would be down a lot more, really based on something that has nothing to do with Tesla to begin with. Tesla stock is down about 1.7%. And when you get opportunities like this to buy Tesla stock in the backdrop of what we now know from the Fed, I think you have to take that as an opportunity. The Fed is your friend. The Fed is going to be cutting rates. Unless we were to see a massive rise in inflation, the Fed is going to be cutting rates at a large degree. Probably after the election, they're going to be cutting rates even more. So we have that to look forward to. 2025, just throw away the dot plot for 2025. That really don't mean anything. If we get any weakness at all here, if there's any reason for the Fed to cut rates, they're going to go cut crazy. And you know who that's going to benefit the most? That's going to benefit Tesla the most. With that said, Tesla stock is now down about 2% here on the day today, and let's get into all of your other Tesla stock breaking news. This piece of news is obviously not the greatest as well. U.S. Senator Crazy Elizabeth Warren calls on the SEC to probe Tesla's board's independence. This article says, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren has called on the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to investigate whether electric vehicle maker Tesla breached regulations over board independence at public companies, according to a letter Thursday. The Massachusetts Democrat previously raised similar concerns in a letter sent to the SEC last summer. So, is anything going to happen to Tesla? Probably not. Is this another reason to fear Tesla? Oh my gosh, Tesla. Of course. And as you can see here on the news wire for Tesla, I wish I could blow this up to make it bigger, but you could see here in yellow, literally all of these headlines are about Elizabeth Warren calling on the SEC to investigate Tesla's board. So it's pretty much everywhere. Polestar has now announced that its electric vehicles can now access Tesla's supercharger network across China. Whereas it's actually fascinating that Tesla stock is down 2% today because you actually had some very good news. Tesla has announced another impending price increase, this time in China. The price increase will take effect on April 1st, coincidentally my birthday. So if you're in the market for a Tesla and they raise prices on you on April 1st, it's not my fault, and will impact the Model Ys produced at Giga Shanghai. A pretty unexpected move. Ford is now allowing dealers to advertise its EVs below MSRP. And again, this has a lot to do with where the demand is for loans. Demand for loans is in a really tough spot right now for autos, for homes, because rates are so high. And again, I want to highlight this will be an upside tailwind catalyst for Tesla when you actually do start to see rate cuts. Once you get that first rate cut, and God forbid the Fed actually gets a reason to start substantially cutting rates, that gets implied in the bond market that rate cuts are now here and they're going to start happening. If you actually take a look at 10-year Treasury yields, to start 2024, you've seen 10-year Treasury yields go from about 3.8% to 4.3%, roughly. I'm rounding up here a little bit. You were just at about 4.34%. So you were just even higher than where you were or where you are right now. And this is really what impacts your auto loans, your mortgages, what lenders do, right? I'm a real estate agent licensed, been licensed since 2019. Don't do a lot of deals, but how it works is lenders, they add about 3% to the 10-year Treasury. So mortgage rates today are about 7.3%. I can tell you that. And I'm not a lender. They just add 3% to the 10-year Treasury. That's it. Simple as that. Or roughly around 3%. So if this thing falls, or when this thing falls, when the Fed actually starts to cut rates and they imply more rate cuts are coming, that's where you get a much better auto market and a much better housing market. Or maybe I should just say a more affordable auto market and a more affordable housing market. And according to a new report from the Boston Consulting Group, automakers, excluding Tesla, lose about $6,000 on every EV they sell. Exumi's CEO Li Jun said that Tesla has the unique advantage of being able to raise the prices of its electric vehicles, a move that other companies cannot pull off because they are risking huge losses. Now, Sam Corris, I'm going to go ahead and follow him. He is Director of Research and Autonomous Technology and Robotics at ARK Invest. He made this very fascinating thread that I think everyone needs to hear at the bare minimum if you don't read it yourself. He says, here's a thread to send to people when they quote the media saying there is an EV slowdown. Add your comments and takes so it can be a useful resource. He said, why is the media claiming an EV slowdown is happening? It's a case of missing the forest for the trees. He says year over year EV sales growth is decelerating. In 2021, it was 113%. 2022 is 59%. 2023, it was 28%. That's the trees. It's the wrong thing to look at. Of course, year over year growth is slowing down. Of freaking course. Has that been hurt as well because of the Fed? Of course. He says market share for gas vehicles peaked in 2017. And you know what happens with the adoption curve? You can see here, this is a great image. The electric vehicle market has been rising ever since 2020. You could see here, it's the dark blue here. Boom. Another big rise. Another big rise. Another rise. And you're expecting another rise in 2024, another rise in 2025 and 2026 as well. The growth is just normalizing for electric vehicles, whereas the combustion engine market is falling. I mean, every year it's expected to fall. He says year over year growth declines as adoption increases. So you can see that here on this chart with the adoption curve and year over year growth. So if you think about, say, 2020 as being the big starting point for the growth of EVs, you may be 4 or 5 years into the S curve. And if this S curve is how the EV S curve would look like, then you're not even to the best part of the S curve yet. You're hardly in the S curve start. You're like right here. So there's still a lot of growth to come. Really long story short. He also says what makes the auto market more confusing is that it's not a monolith. Each time an EV launches into a new segment or price point, a new adoption curve begins. The various overlapping adoption curves ultimately result in an overall adoption curve. So what that means is like Tesla launching the truck. That's starting a whole new adoption curve for electric trucks and Tesla specifically. The Ford F-150 Lightning did the same thing. When GM really starts selling their truck, that's going to do the same thing and overall add to the adoption curve of the EV market. But here in this chart, you can see global battery electric vehicle sales market share going from basically nothing in 2013, really still like nothing in 2019. You were like 2.5%. 2020, you're at like 3%. The end of 2023, you were at about 13% or so, 12.5, 13% in that range. And the growth here is, well, on a year-over-year change, still decelerating a little bit, but increasing a lot in the grand scope of things. The majority of Tesla's staff in Germany decided against the IG Metall union and opted for non-unionized workers for the new Works Council, the company said on Wednesday in a statement. Here you can see a picture from PeterDog15 on X of all the Cybertrucks waiting to charge at Giga Texas today. And I mean, there's Cybertrucks basically everywhere. This has to be close to 100 or more. You can see Cybertrucks over here, this whole line, and this whole line. You're looking at likely well over 100 in this image alone. Tesla has updated their referral program. When someone uses your referral code and buys a Model S, X, or Y, they will now receive 1 year of free premium connectivity in addition to 3 free months of FSD. Here you can see the first ever Cybertruck teardown, and the Cybertruck battery, well, the seats are directly attached to the battery itself, which is pretty interesting, or I should say the encasement of the battery. And this really doesn't have much to do with Tesla specifically, but it just shows you the technology force that Elon has with him specifically. And this is a video from Neuralink with the first human brain implant patient. I'm gonna go ahead and run this clip. It's about 4 minutes 50 seconds long, and it's just mind-blowing.
We got a bonus TNT for you, and this is powerful stuff. Okay, we don't say that much. Elon Musk and Neuralink just posted video of the company's first ever human brain implant patient. The video shows 29-year-old quadriplegic Nolan Arbaugh controlling a computer with his mind. Neuralink successfully implanted Nolan's brain with a chip back in January. At the time, Neuralink said he'd be able to, quote, move a mouse around the screen just by thinking. A lot of people wrote that off. Well, guess what? Show it again, folks. I mean, that's exactly what just happened. And here's what Nolan Arbaugh had to say.
It's crazy. It really is. It's so cool. I'm so freaking lucky to be a part of this and stuff. I mean, every day it seems like we're learning new stuff, and I just can't even describe how cool it is to be able to do this.
So I just want to be clear what just happened. Nolan Arbaugh had a Neuralink chip installed in his brain, and he just moved a mouse on the screen playing chess, not with his eyes, not with any kind of a hand controller, literally with his mind moving the mouse. He was injured 8 years ago in a freak diving accident, and now this may have changed his life for the better. I know Elon Musk can be a polarizing guy. He's got huge numbers of people that work for him also that have nothing to do with Elon Musk. They're just smart scientists doing what they do every day. And to change that guy's life like that, and maybe many more, it's remarkable stuff. The future, everything is not terrible, folks. It is, in many ways, an amazing time to be alive.
Wow, if that's possible, then it makes you think other tasks that Tesla are working on are also very possible, like getting to fully autonomous vehicles, the robo-taxi network, and Optimus ultimately. Now here in the day today, sentiment is actually pretty dang bullish from retail investors in Tesla. You have a rating of 55, which is bullish. 1 day ago, you were at neutral, which was at 53. Message volume today is at 52. Yesterday wasn't normal at 40, so sentiment more bullish, message volume is higher, and the participation ratio is at 55, which is pretty much where it has been recently, which just shows you have more accounts talking about Tesla, presumably more people buying Tesla stock as well. Option activity from hedge funds and institutional investors today, surprisingly pretty dang positive. You have seen 467 orders totaling $318.06 million with a positive order value of 77%. Volume today, 57.77% calls, and volume today to the put side of 42.23%. Google Trends data for the Tesla lineup continues to be very strong. You can see the Model X going from 9 to 10. The Cybertruck going from 32 to 32. It hasn't moved there. The Model Y from 32 to 33. And the Model 3 from 36, well, still at 36. These are very strong search trend numbers for Tesla, showing an acceleration basically for all Tesla models. The Model Y has recently hit as high as about 37, but still sitting at 33. Pretty strong after hitting that low at about 31. So in the short term, you have seen an acceleration across the board for the Tesla lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this acceleration for the Model 3, Model Y, Model X, and even Model S that is not listed here has been due to the Cybertruck and the halo effect that could be starting. I think that's a very underrated catalyst that will be coming for Tesla that will help really boost growth for Tesla in the second half of 2024, but more strongly in 2025. And in case you missed it, Tesla is now running 4,000 different ads, a vast majority of which are really advertising the Model Y and the low starting prices for the Model Y and the Model 3, as well as autopilot that comes standard in all Teslas. The percent of stocks today above their 50-day moving average upticking nicely to 61.76%, up 3.36%. Here on the day today, or I should say 3.36% of stocks out there are now above their 50-day moving average today, whereas they were not previously. You're up almost 6% in total today. We did also get some really good data today, specifically with Philly Fed prices paid. This came in last month at 16.60, and this reading for March came in at 3.7. So a pretty good sign that you're seeing less inflationary pressures. You also had S&P Global Services PMI that came in at 51.7 when the estimate was 52.2. And then manufacturing PMI, they beat to the upside. That's great. S&P Global Composite PMI also beat to the upside as well, coming in at 52.2. The estimate was 51.5. So better than expected activity in the economy with lower services prices and activity, which is precisely where you would want to see a slowdown, because that's where the inflation really is as of right now. You also had existing home sales that did come in at 4.38 million. The estimate was 3.89 million. That's pretty good as well. And existing home sales month over month came in at 9.5% positive, and the estimate was negative 2.5%. So beat really across the board there. Coming out later tonight, you will have the inflation rate out of Japan year over year. That comes out at 7:30 tonight. Considering the Bank of Japan is now raising rates, their inflation data could be a little bit more important now. Now, on a technical basis, Tesla stock found a lot of resistance today on this uptrending line. This connects the gap that you've seen on January 26th when Tesla stock went up 11%. That connects the low that you've seen on April 27th where Tesla bounced and ran big time. And that also connects some of these support levels that you have seen in recent times. Well, it did serve as a little bit of resistance today, as you can see here on the charts. Now, you're kind of in limbo here. If you don't break above this line to the upside, that's a problem. You inevitably will fall back down to about the low 160s. If you do get some bullish pressures in Tesla, who knows for what reason, whether the markets just start to buy Tesla for no reason, or whether we get good news. If Tesla can break above this level, which is a close above about 176, then you make your way to about the 190 level. Then you can start to fill this whole area to the last gap down that we had which put you at about 188. So above 176, you can rally another $12 or so to the upside. If you don't get above that level, you inevitably will trade downwards towards the low 160s again. The MACD line did go positive today. The yellow line broke above the blue line. Short term, that's very great. And if we pull up the RSI for Tesla is at 40.76. Anything under 50 is considered bearish. So Tesla stock still on the relative strength measures, still coming in as bearish. If you get above 50, maybe that leads more kind of optimism to come into the stock. But as of right now, you're still not looking that good. And I think the sentiment can be monitored using the RSI, but other things as well. Just the overall sentiment in Tesla is very weak right now. Let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel because it's free 99, costs you absolutely nothing to do. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time as well, check out that link down below in the description of this video. We do have some earnings coming out today and after hours with Nike, Lululemon, and FedEx. I do have some trades on some of these. If you guys want to come see those trades and come trade with us, maybe hedge out your portfolio, make some trades to the long side, that link is in the description of the video. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.